Hello there and welcome to Star Wars 1000. Star Wars question today, should there be a Boba Fett Season 2? Now if you don't know, there is an event coming up called D23, which is like an event where they announce all these different Disney projects like Star Wars related stuff and Marvel related stuff and so on. There have been rumors for a while now that there could be a Boba Fett Season 2, and I feel like if there is going to be a Boba Fett Season 2 that they could announce a Season 2 at this D23 event, which should be coming out in a couple days, the D23 event. So should there be a Boba Fett Season 2, and what could they do for a second season? Is there even a season, or like a good story worth telling for a second season of the show? I would be okay with seeing a Boba Fett Season 2, but it's not something I'm dying to see, because I'm going to be honest, I didn't like the first season of the show. I felt like it was kind of boring and kind of cringe at times, and I didn't like that they made Boba Fett a good guy. Apparently that's where the setup has been since the start. Apparently that's apparently from what we've been told, that Boba Fett's natural progression of the character was to be what we saw in the Book of Boba Fett, and it's probably true, but I still didn't like the direction that they took the character in the show. To be fair, I don't like what they've done with Boba Fett since the prequels. I feel like I don't think he should have been a clone and be such an important character. And the Clone Wars he's a clone and he was involved with the Clone Wars. I think that's a little insane to have a mysterious badass bounty hunter from the original trilogy be such an important key aspect to the Clone Wars, basically. Well, his father was, but still. Like, to me, that felt very forced, but that's a conversation for a different time. I'm just trying to be fair, though, because I don't know what they would have done with the original Boba Fett series. If they explored his backstory of him being a clone, I probably wouldn't have enjoyed that much either. What I really wanted to see from a Boba Fett show was just him being a badass bounty hunter, and him being ruthless, and him having something to do with the underworld. That's all I pretty much wanted to see from a Boba Fett TV series or a Boba Fett movie, was just him being a badass. But instead we got all this other stuff, and we had him with motorcycle gangs. I'm sorry, I didn't like the first season of Book of Boba Fett, but there's always a chance for there to be a bit of a course correct. I feel like in the second season they could fix a lot of the problems that was in the first season and have actually Boba Fett be a bad guy. I think Boba Fett is a character that should just remain bad, or at least get a little bit of an anti-hero side to him. Also, I'm going to be honest, I didn't like what they did with Boba Fett in The Mandalorian as well. I felt like he was still too much of a good guy. I hope in the second season something happens and he just goes completely bad again and goes really ruthless bounty hunter. And I feel like a second season of Boba Fett should be a really dark show. Not a really dark show, but a dark show. And no motorcycle gangs, please. Maybe there could be a falling out between Boba Fett and Fennec Shand in Season 2. Maybe there's going to be a war between the two of them, like a very big underground war or something like that. I think Boba Fett Season 2 should just be something really about the underworld, something very dark. Well, not extremely dark, just a good amount of dark, so he could be a badass, ruthless bounty hunter and not what we saw in the first season of Book of Boba Fett. And maybe Cad Bane could be in the second season too, because we're not 100% sure if he's still alive or not. I think he is still alive, because if he died the way he did in the first season of Book of Boba Fett, that would have been extremely lame. Hopefully he's somehow alive. Because in my opinion, I didn't like the way Cad Bane supposedly, quote-unquote, died. And it is possible for him to still be alive, and that's what I'm hoping for. So there's still hope for Boba Fett Season 2 to turn things around and to have Boba Fett be more of a bad guy. And if there is a second season of a Boba Fett series, I hope they don't really dive into his backstory too much. I like Boba Fett because he was very mysterious in the original trilogy. I think he's better as a character we don't know much about. I think if there is a second season of the show, I hope that they don't explore his backstory and how he became Boba Fett and all this other stuff. And I just wanted to see a badass adventure with Boba Fett, and Fennec Shand could be there as well, either with him or helping him or going up against him. I think if Fennec Shand versus Boba Fett would be a cool story for season 2 of the series, and something to do with the underworld. If he's still a good guy in the second season of the show, they don't really change anything from the first season, then it is what it is. I guess I'll still watch it. Maybe it'll just be an interesting story this time, and hopefully that's what I'm hoping for, because I found the first season of the show not to be interesting, and I felt a lot of cringe at times, and I was bored quite a few times as well. The only time I wasn't bored in the first season of the show is when they had everything to do with Mando Season 2.5 stuff, and that was like some of the best episodes of Star Wars I've ever seen, but it happened in a freaking Boba Fett show. Like, are you kidding me? In the second season of the show, it should just not be about Mandalorian stuff. If they want to do that stuff, then they could do that in the Mandalorian show. I get that all these shows are connected in some sort of way, but geez, like you didn't even have your main character in the episode at one time. Like, that can't happen. But it's whatever, I guess. If there is a season 2, I'm just hoping it's gonna be pretty good and has something very interesting to tell, and have Boba Fett be a badass. And if he's not a badass and he's still the same way that he was in season 1, I'm just hoping that there's an engaging story for me to be interested in. Because in the first season, I was just not interested in what was going on pretty much at all, and the only thing I liked and cared about was the Mandalorian stuff. So to wrap up the video, may the Force be with you always.